People are calling the 2026 draft the best class in years. But how do you rank a class that hasn't played a single NBA game? You can't use careers, those don't exist yet. So I built a way to score a class before it ever steps on the floor, and ranked it against the best classes of the last 40 years. Where does 2026 actually land? Let's run it. Here's the plan. First, the model. How you score a class before it plays. Then, 2026's profile and its score. Then, the leaderboard against the historic greats. And finally, the twist. Why a high pre-draft score is a forecast, not a guarantee. One honest note up front. Clean pre-draft analytics don't exist for old classes. So these scores are my transparent model, grounded in the consensus of each era. Let's build it. This is Game is Culture. Quick thing before we run it. If you like ideas like this built into real models, subscribe. It's free and it helps a ton. Now, the method. The class score blends 4 pre-draft inputs into one number out of 100. 1. Consensus big board strength, how scouts rated the top prospects. 2. Projection model value, the statistical forecasts of future wins. 3. Pedigree, the recruiting pyramid these players came up through. And 4. Depth, how far down the talent runs. Average the top 5 and the top 10, and you get a single comparable class grade. The reason you average 2 cutoffs is to catch both kinds of greatness. A class carried by 2 superstars, and a class that's loaded 15 deep. A truly elite class scores high on both. And here's the one trick that makes it work. You score on an absolute scale, not on draft rank. Every class has a number 1 pick, so rank tells you nothing. Instead, you ask, how good is this prospect in a vacuum? In a loaded class, the third best player might outgrade a weak class's number 1. That's the whole point. It lets different classes be measured against the same yardstick. The 2026 profile. Map 2026 on the 4 inputs plus shape, and it's loaded. Elite top end, with a 3-way debate for number 1 between Darren Peterson, AJ DeBansa, and Cameron Boozer. Excellent depth into the first round. A rare positional spread. Star guards, a stacked forward group, and upside bigs. And blue chip pedigree across the board. There's barely a soft spot in the profile. Why does it score so high? Because most classes have 1 franchise prospect. This one has 3 players who would be the clear number 1 in a normal year, and the talent doesn't fall off a cliff after them. Add a genuinely rare mix of elite guards and forwards, and a draft that's deep enough that rotation players are still on the board late, and you get one of the strongest pre-draft profiles in years. The leaderboard. So here's where 2026 lands by pre-draft class score against the most hyped classes of the last 40 years. 2003, the LeBron, Wade, Melo, and Bosch class sits on top as the pre-draft gold standard. 2026 comes in second, ahead of stacked groups like 2014, 2007, and the deep 1996 and 2009 classes. By expectation entering the league, this is elite company, the second strongest incoming class in 4 decades. Put 2026 right up against the benchmark. 2003 scored a 95, carried by a true generational prospect at the top in LeBron. 2026 scores a 90, just behind. Because while its depth and positional spread are arguably better, it lacks that single slam dunk best prospect in a decade name at the very top. Close to the ceiling, a hair short of it. So by pre-draft expectation, the verdict is clear. 2026 is the best incoming class since 2003. Better than every hyped group of the last 20 years except the LeBron class. That's a huge statement, and the data behind the hype supports it. But, and this is the most important word in the whole video, that's where the certainty ends. Quick halftime note, if you want the full leaderboard and more models like this, stick around and subscribe while you're here, it's free. Now the twist that changes everything. Hype isn't destiny. Here's the uncomfortable truth. even within the last 40 years. Plot pre-draft score against what classes actually produced, and the dots barely line up. 1996 graded as strong, but not historic. Then Kobe slipped to 13 and Nash to 15, and it became an all-timer. 2013 graded well and completely flopped. 2003 is the rare one that was hyped and delivered. Pre-draft score and outcome are only loosely related. Take 1996. On draft night, it looked deep, but not legendary. Allen Iverson was the clear number 1, but Kobe Bryant fell all the way to 13th and Steve Nash to 15th. 2 future MVPs the entire league passed on repeatedly. Our model would have graded it solidly, not historically. Its greatness was earned on the court, not forecast. Flip it around and you get 2013, a class that graded fine and produced almost nothing at the top. That gap between forecast and result is the humbling ceiling on this entire exercise, and it should keep everyone honest about what a pre-draft number can and cannot tell you. So compare 2026 and 2003 head to head fairly. 2003 had the better single prospect, and crucially, it has the receipts. 4 stars who all delivered. 2026 has arguably better depth and positional balance, but it has 0 NBA games to its name. On paper, it's neck and neck. In reality, only one of them has actually proven anything. So how confident am I in the ranking? On the pre-draft claim, 2026 as the second best incoming class since 2003. Fairly confident. The talent and depth genuinely support it. But on whether it ends up a top 5 class all time, that confidence drops way down because that's an outcome no model can know yet. High confidence in the forecast, low confidence in the destiny. Where could the model be wrong? If you weight a single generational prospect more heavily, 2003 pulls further ahead and the gap grows. And my scores for older classes are reconstructed estimates, so reasonable people could shuffle the middle of the board. But the headline is robust. By every pre-draft input we have, 2026 grades as a genuinely special, top-tier incoming class. And that's the honest bottom line. Statistically, by pre-draft expectation, 2026 ranks as the best class to enter the league since 2003, second on the modern leaderboard. But it cannot crack the very top tier, the 1996 and 2003 level, until these players actually do it. The hype is earned. The legacy has to be too. So that's the verdict. By the numbers we have before tip-off, 2026 is the best draft class in over 20 years, with only the legendary classes standing above it, and only because they've already proven it. Do you buy the hype, or will this class be the next 1996 or the next bust? Tell me below. And we are so close to 1,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.